Hey everyone, thanks for your support in 2024. We have a lot of cool stuff coming in 2025, and here are some of the things you can look forward to as we move into next year. In the lead up to The Mandalorian and Grogu in 2026, we'll be starting a full series rewatch of both The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett on exploring hyperspace lanes beginning in October. You can also expect a rewatch of Andor, and we will have reviews of every episode of Andor and the rest of the Skeleton Crew as those come out. Josie will be returning as we continue to rank every Star Wars thing released ever. Reviews of every episode of every Marvel Disney Plus show, including Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, The Eyes of Wakanda, Wonder Man, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, and Marvel Zombies, the day after each episode releases, will be available on Beware of Spoilers. We'll be having special event podcasts on 30-minute reviews for the Academy Awards, our 2024 year in review in early January, ranking all of Phase 5 of the MCU after Fantastic Four First Steps comes out, and our 10th anniversary special. Once we complete our rankings of all the Pokemon games on the backlog files, we'll be moving on to Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. Over on the YouTube channel, you can join in for playthroughs of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Pokemon White, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, Sonic Adventure 2, LEGO Racers 2, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Want to keep on top of all the new things we have coming? Subscribe at mwpnews.com, subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/@mwpnews, or subscribe to Beware of Spoilers, 30-minute reviews, exploring hyperspace lanes, and the backlog files on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, thank you for your support.
Good morning, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. I know I said I was going to do The River Has Roots. I still plan to. It's just been hectic this week. I did really enjoy that book, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. And I saw how much people responded to the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Sunrise on the Reaping. And maybe that's because it's a book review. Maybe that's just because it's the Hunger Games. Who knows? Who am I to say? You ever notice how it is almost impossible to get a comfortable temperature in your car? Like, it's like 40 degrees out today, so it's not freezing cold like it was a few months ago, but it's warm enough where I'm like, it's cold enough where I'm like, all right, I gotta like try and fiddle with the temperature here a little bit, but it's just like, you can't put the temperature on too high because then it becomes like a fucking sauna, and you can't put the temperature on too low because then you're just freezing. Like, there's no comfortable temperature in a car. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe it is. Who knows? But I feel like I'm not alone in this. Regardless, the point is, we're here to talk about the new episode of Daredevil, which wrapped up the Muse storyline, which is one of those things where it's like, anytime they talk about Muse, I'm like, Jason Muse? No, I think that wrapping this up here is interesting, because fundamentally, Muse is not the issue. Muse is a plot object, not a character. And I went back and forth after I watched over whether or not I liked this decision, because it was like, I don't like introducing this character just to have him be there for 2 episodes, and then there's that small appearance early on, kind of setting him up. I didn't like, because that's what my instinct is, don't do that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, this is not about, Daredevil fighting Muse. Muse is not a season-long bad guy. This is how Daredevil got his groove back. And he's just like, he's here to fight. What's it called? He's getting back out of retirement because he's gonna fight because Muse is the serial killer who's out there, and Muse almost killed probably gonna be the next White Tiger. So it's you do he's a necessary step there. But the other thing Muse is necessary for is putting Daredevil and Kingpin back on the collision course. That's the important thing this character is there for, is to put these two on the collision course. Now, the other thing I'm not overly thrilled about is that I don't think the show has really developed Kingpin's underworldness enough. I feel like that's kind of one of the big drawbacks of this show so far has been, I don't think that, by the time we get to the end of this and there's the assassination attempt by the guy in the tracksuit mafia, who was, I think he was in, what's it called? I think he was in Hawkeye. I'm not 100%, but I think he was in Hawkeye. Like, by the time we get to that point, like, I don't think that there is enough there to really do that. I don't have anything. I don't think there's enough there really to make that a meaningful moment, so to speak. Like, I don't think we've built up enough about his relationship with Vanessa, where it's like, okay, Vanessa cheated on him, and Vanessa is now running his underworld empire. But, like, I don't think we've had enough of that built up. And the implication of the end of that episode is, I don't think it's an implication. I think it's just a straight up, like, it's just straight up the plot, is that it's like, oh, she was behind the hit. But, like, why? Like, does she just hate him? Like, and in which case, why go through the effort of couples counseling? Why not just leave him? Like, it's like, if you're gonna do that anyway, like, it's such a weird decision. Like, that was something else I was like, yeah, okay, I guess. And I think that is kind of a lot of my issue with this episode, is that it's like, yeah, okay, I guess. Like, I said last week, I liked tying Daredevil and Kingpin to the therapist and having them both be dealing with this therapist. I like that. The issue with that is, I don't think that necessarily works when you also tie Muse to the therapist. And that's the thing, is that it's like this, by the end of this show, something's going to happen and Daredevil's going to be on the run. But I think I said it last week, by the end of this show, Matt Murdock's identity is going to be exposed. Because he's going to become, because that's the thing, is that it's like we're starting to see the seams in this. Like, we're starting to see the seams in the dual life. And he's only been back for like a week and a half. Like, we see his girlfriend starting to figure it out. We see that, like, it's starting to impact his job and what he's doing with his partner, and the relationship between him and his investigator has turned sour too. Like, we're nearing the point where things have to start coming apart, and as he's being stretched so thin. And what we're going to reach with this is, he is going to end up being, his identity to be exposed. I think the person who's going to expose is going to be Kingpin. And this is going to be the thing that's going to bring back Karen, I think. And then also there's this other issue that I think is kind of interesting. I think it's the first time that I was like, I felt something towards Michael Gandolfini's character. Is him threatening, BB is her name? Ben Ulrich's granddaughter, like, or niece or whatever. Like, and the thing is too, it's not even like he's trying to play tough, and that's the thing that I like about this, is that he's clearly an idiot trying to play tough. Clearly. The issue is, like, he's an idiot playing tough, so he's threatening her, but I'm like, what is he trying to threaten her with? Maybe I just missed it because I was editing something at the same time, but I'm like, is he just telling her back off, or we're going to, destroy your career? Is that all he, like, back off from the mayor's shit, or we're going to end your career? Like, is that what it is, or is it just, like, it feels very weird, and it feels like just someone trying to be tough without understanding how to be tough. Like, it's a guy who's pretending to be a mob boss, basically, or a guy pretending to be Tony Soprano. And I don't think he quite gets what that actually entails. I think is what the fundamental issue I have with that scene is. Now, do I think that, like, with 2 episodes left, do I think we're going to get a satisfying... And keeping in mind, there is another season coming, and we know this. It's currently shooting. It's coming out next year. Do we think that this show is going to wrap up in a nice, neat bow? This season. And as we get into the last 2 episodes, I think that fundamentally where I am is, I think we're going to end off on a cliffhanger, which, I mean, doesn't feel like that, outlandish of a prediction, but at the end of the day, the fundamental thing that we have to look at with this show is, where do we leave it so that way people will want to come back next season? And I think the place you have to leave it is, Matt has to be at the bottom. Like, Matt has to be at rock bottom for this. And then season 2, you have to come back with him like that. And I think there's a chance that we're looking at kind of the Mandalorian of the Defenders verse with this show. And what I mean by that is, that just sounds stupid until I explain myself. What I mean by that is, the Mandalorian season 1 is just good TV. It's, thinking back through, I don't think that, there's one character, no, he's not even in that show, because the Markers show up season 2. Season 1 is fundamentally just lone wolf and cub. It's this guy, he's got this baby, they're going to go on adventures, he's got to get the baby back to the baby's family, and he's going to be dealing with, Moff Gideon and all these other things. Season 2, we start introducing all the characters we know from other things. Because, Fennec Shand was in season 1, but Fennec Shand wasn't in anything before. Season 2, you get Boba Fett. Season 2, you get, what's his name? Season 2, you get, Bo-Katan. Season 2, you get, the Marshal, who's played by Timothy Olyphant. Season 2, you get, who was the other one? Ahsoka is introduced in season 2. And we're bringing in all these characters from other media, know and love, and then we're going to, and just kind of introduce them as these people. That's what this is going to end up feeling like, I think, by the time we get to next season, where it's like, okay, yeah, we had Frank Castle in one very brief scene, and that's the thing, is that it's like, I think he's going to come back in these last 2 episodes. I don't know why my voice cracked. I'm fucking over 30 now. I think Frank Castle's going to come back, because I don't think you have him as high, granted, Foggy was also there, and Foggy got shot 10 minutes into the show, but, I don't think that I don't think there's as many people who are, as committed to Foggy as they are to Frank Castle. I think marketing Frank Castle as he's going to be here is one of those things where it's you want to give him more than one segment in one episode. Even if it is a fantastic segment, you want to give him more than one segment in one episode. So, season 2, maybe we get, we get Jessica Jones, maybe we get, Luke Cage, or, Danny Rand, who knows, probably not Danny Rand, but, who knows what we get next season. Maybe we get, Daisy Johnson come back from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Who knows? But, that could be what next season is. As they're trying to round up the vigilantes, it's how do you do that? Oh, we're rounding up the vigilantes who are on Earth or in New York, and that will give you that'll give you the in to bring in all these people. I think that could be interesting. And maybe we get Claire back. Who knows? I'd be very interested to see what they do with that, because I think that there is fertile storytelling ground where it won't just be Glup Shido of the week, for lack of a better word. And can we just address that real quick? I think the term Glup Shido gets thrown around quite a bit, where it's I think what we need to differentiate is what counts as a Glup Shido and what is just this is a character in this show. Because, like, that's the thing, is that it's like, the original meme for Glup Shido was like Star Wars fans, when this, like, oh, and here's Glup Shido, he's from this book. Like, here's the issue with what should constitute that. Because, like, people called Anakin that in Ahsoka. I don't think Anakin counts in that case in the Ahsoka Goes into the Speed Force episode. Because Anakin Skywalker is ostensibly the protagonist of 3 movies. And 3 movies that kind of got a lot of people in to watch this show. Like, the idea that that would count is a little weird. Like, it's what a Glup Shido. I mean, the Marshal is a Glup Shido. Like, and I think we should kind of, like, not just it's a cameo from someone from another movie, like, or an appearance from someone from something else. I don't think that necessarily just outright counts. But look, I mean, we're going to have, we have 2 episodes left. I think that this is something that we're going to have to, we're going to, I think that, I hope they stick the landing with these last 2 episodes. That's kind of my hope. I don't know for certain that they will. I definitely think this show is not 100% as good as the original run of Daredevil on Netflix. There are certainly things that I'm really enjoying about it, and I think this show is better paced than the one on Netflix. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this show is bad. But, like, looking back at season 1 of Daredevil, it's like, that is near perfect television. And I don't think this show necessarily lives up to that in the same way. Hopefully they can stick the landing. And I think that's going to be the big test, is sticking the landing. And I think the other thing is, too, how we think about sticking the landing on a show like this is going to be fundamentally different from the original run of Daredevil. Because in the original run, they were not picked up for season 2 when they made the show. Because Netflix is always, let's see how the first season does, then we'll pick it up for season 2, then we'll see how season 2 does, then we'll pick up season 3, and so on and so forth. Looking at this, I think that you're going to leave it in a weird place, and I think it's going to probably be closer to the end of season 2 of Daredevil, which I don't remember tremendously well, but season 2 of Daredevil ends setting up Defenders, if I remember correctly, because don't they resurrect Elektra? Yeah, I don't think there was anything. I don't remember the end of season 1 doing anything to set up a second season besides just like, okay, Kingpin's in prison, moving on. Like, there was no tease for Punisher at the end of season 1. I remember the first tease of Punisher came out, I was sitting in the break room at JCPenney because I was scrolling through probably Twitter. Like, this is fucking 15 years ago at this point, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, because it would have been 2014, I think. But yeah, I mean, look, I look at this show and I'm like, I don't have a problem with them setting up season 2 at the end of this season. But it's just, like, if you're holding back story for the next season, you do inherently, I think, lose a little something. Because if you're holding back story for the next season, with the intent that next season you're going to continue it, it can make the end of what we're watching right now feel unfulfilling. Because at the end of the day, it's like, why, oh, so I gotta wait a year now to see how this resolves? Okay, great. That said, this is definitely the strongest of the Marvel television shows. Like, this is, I wouldn't say this is as good as Andor, which we have in a few weeks, but this is, probably the strongest Disney Plus series they've done that I can think of. But we'll wrap up there for today. As I said, Andor is coming out this month. We have a very stacked month for TV shows. We have Doctor Who coming back for the second season of 15's time with a new companion. And I think Ruby's coming back too. Excuse me. The Last of Us is like 2 weeks out. What was the one after that? We also have Andor, which is going to talk about exploring hyperspace lanes. We also have, what was the other big show that we have coming out? There was another one. I just can't remember off the top of my head. What was the other one? I don't remember. But there was definitely another big show coming out this month that we were going to talk about. But there's a lot. There's a lot we're going to talk about this month in terms of TV shows. We're starting to get into summer movie seasons, and we're going to have a lot more movies. And I'm looking forward to some of the things we have coming down the line. We announced it yesterday over on MWP News and also mentioned it on last night's episode of 30 Minute Reviews. Starting next Friday, we will be putting up the next in the series of Pokemon playthroughs. This is not a, This is not a, one. This is not, what's I'm looking for here? This car behind me, it's gotta be, like, is that an electric truck? It's not a standard ROM. It is not a randomized one. It's not even a Nuzlocke. We are playing through Pokemon Emerald Elite Redux, which is a fan game. It's a difficulty hack. And in this playthrough, we will be tracking how many times I lose and which Pokemon rack up the most kills. And this is the thing that I've been editing. It takes a lot of time to edit because I had this idea and did not think through how much effort it was going to actually take to do all of that. But I committed in episode 1, and now we're on episode 3, and I'm like, oh, holy fuck, why did I do this? Because updating the leaderboard is time consuming in Resolve. So it takes a good 3 hours it takes about 4 hours to make an episode, not including I haven't even done the uploads yet. About 4 hours, because I gotta make the episode, I gotta play for an hour, then about 3 hours cutting, and then whatever time it takes to upload. So, and then the 2 hour render, I just let that run overnight while I go to bed. But yeah, we will wrap up there for today. Our next episode for this will be Thursday, or tomorrow maybe. We'll do the River Has Roots, or maybe later today after I record the episode about the Nintendo Direct that I'm about to watch. We're going to be doing a Minecraft movie on Thursday, with a very foreboding A instead of the. So, lucky us, if a lot of people go and see this, we may have another Minecraft movie to go see. And I will be going to see this because I don't fucking know. But we'll wrap up there for today, and until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.